tonight in Cleveland. It's a holiday weekend. You've been really good at home throughout the playoffs. You're down 2. You've got to defend home court. And the Cavs had zero answers for what New York was doing offensively. Earlier in the show, Amon Shumpert and I were aghast at the defensive effort from Cleveland. But you got a counter, which is what the Knicks are doing so brilliantly on offense. How do you frame it?
Yeah, look, the Cavs have run into a better team that is playing their best basketball. And when you run into that and you've got this kind of balance up and down your starting lineup, very difficult to figure out a way to limit them because there's nothing that you can really do to expose some part of their team offensively, Scott. They tried that in game 1. They weren't going to send help on Brunson. You saw how that worked out at the end of the game. Game 2, they're going to give him all kinds of traffic, and Josh Hart goes off. And then in this game, it was a little bit of both. So I just think the balance across the board of the ways they can beat you in the paint from the 3 and with their defense now, which has turned into an elite defense, it's just too much for the Cavs. Their one hope was they shoot a lot of threes. If you can shoot a high percentage and enough guys can contribute in that area, it keeps you in the game. Last couple games, they have not been able to do that.
Yeah, like hope's not a plan, all right? I mean, Cleveland had to hope they'd shoot better when they went home. They just didn't. And on a night where the Knicks shoot 56% legs, they were going to have to shoot it like about 40, as you say, and they don't. And history says Cleveland's done. If you're New York and you recognize that maybe it's going to go for a while in the West, as exciting as it is to get to the finals, how much urgency is there? Let's get this thing done Monday and get as much rest as we can.
I think right now you're going to see them with their foot on the accelerator in game 4, without question. There's not going to be a let up by this team. And the reason is this, Scott, when you're in this situation, you don't want to play any more games than you have to because the one thing that could derail something is somebody getting hurt. So just do the math. That's one less game you have to play. Then get on to the finals. So they're going to come out with the right sense of urgency on Monday. There's no question about that. And for the Cavs, look, the start of this game, I will say this. This was the loudest environment that I've been in the postseason prior to tip. This crowd was ready. The problem is the Knicks took it to them physically, early, getting into the paint, beating them up in that way. Got some easy baskets to start their night. And it was difficult from that point on for the crowd to find the energy that the Cavs are going to need because they weren't giving them enough results on the court. So I think the energy will be okay in the beginning, but the Knicks have proven they know how to squash that pretty quickly and demoralize you.
Styles make fights, right? Matchups in basketball determine who wins series. If New York is to win, and they'll play either the Spurs or the Thunder, probably be a dog in either series. But in hearing you talk about the Knicks, it sounds to me like you believe that this is not just an Eastern Conference championship quality team. It's potentially an NBA championship team. You believe that, it sounds to me.
There's no doubt, Scott. Whoever comes out of the West, and I think everybody thought for a long time as a foregone conclusion, whoever wins the West, that's your NBA champion. The Knicks have changed that narrative. The Knicks are now a team that can absolutely go toe-to-toe with those two teams, who, by the way, still have a lot of work to do. So who knows what those teams will do to each other, trying to secure that spot in the finals across from the New York Knicks. But, Scott, think about this. You're talking about a team in the Knicks that is number 2 offensive-rated team amongst all the playoff teams, number 1 defensive-rated team, number 1 in three-point percentage, and they get about 60 points a night in the paint. Also number 1 in fast break points. I mean, there's just across the board, the totality of what they're hitting you with, nobody has had close to enough answers. In the Eastern Conference, certainly. Now, you're talking about 2 elite teams in the West. One of those teams will be staring at the Knicks. If the Knicks can close this out, assuming they get that 4th win, the Knicks absolutely belong in that category as a championship caliber team. There's no doubt they've turned themselves into a great team right before our eyes.
48 minutes to earn the right to play for the chip. We'll be watching on Monday and talking when it's done, Tim.
Sports Center, the 10th straight win for the Knicks this postseason. They're the 10th team ever to do that in a single postseason. 5 of the previous 9 went on to win the NBA title, most recently the Celtics 2 seasons ago. In the building to witness it all, our NBA insider, Brian Windhorst. Brian, I just never felt like Cleveland's best tonight was going to be better than the Knicks, who again have now won 10 consecutive games. What has this series shown us about this Knicks team?
They are a terrific team. And when you look at the way that they were constructed to eventually play this well. I don't know if anybody saw this coming, but when you watch specifically how their wings have played in this postseason, and they were huge tonight. And I'm talking about OG Anunoby, talking about Mikal Bridges. Like, nobody's going to shout from the streets in New York about how many draft picks the Knicks gave up for Mikal Bridges right now, because it is the first thing from everybody's mind. They made the investment in both of those players, giving draft picks and then big contracts for exactly the type of play that they are doing in this series. You add in Josh Hart, you add in, Landry Shamet coming off the bench. The Knicks are dominating this series on the wing. The Cavs have multiple all-star wings that are being outplayed by those guys. And I think one of the most impressive things, I was in the tunnel when the Knicks players came off the court. They're going to the finals, okay? No one's ever blown a 3-0 lead. They're playing great. They're going to the finals for the first time in all these guys' lifetimes, adult lifetimes, and they are totally business as usual. It was very impressive.
That is impressive, but we got to talk about the flip side here, Wendy. This Cavs team has not looked the same this series as they did earlier in the playoffs. What have you noticed and what have you learned about the Cavaliers these last 3 games?
Yeah, there's a scenario in which the Knicks would play at a certain level and the Cavs would play at a certain level that they could compete with the Knicks, but this level isn't it. And you see it on the defensive end of the court. They are just not good enough defensively to bail themselves out with the way their offensive level is right now. They've been a sort of a middling defensive team throughout the year. They did not have good defensive intensity tonight. And then you compound it by the fact that they have just not shot the ball well. This is a team that thrives on good outside shooting. They have been under 30% basically for the series. There are moments, where they look like they can get it going. But for the most part, and the Knicks have let them get open shots. I mean, the Knicks are doing a good job defensively, but the Cavs have not had an issue generating open shots. They just haven't been able to execute. You do wonder if fatigue is playing a factor, because the 2 7-game series and the way Game 1 was so emotionally gutting in overtime, maybe that's affected their legs a little bit. But to beat the Knicks that are this good right now, this is not an acceptable level that the Cavs are showing.
I used to host NBA Tonight with Mike Brown. He's at this point, he's on his 5th team, right? Cleveland, Lakers, the Dubs, the Kings, now the Knicks. He's got the Knicks one win away. Cleveland twice. He's got the Knicks 1 win away from the NBA Finals. What a showing tonight there in Cleveland. Brian Windhorst, thanks for joining us here on SportsCenter. That's a story in the Eastern on SportsCenter. Cavs guard James Harden.
We're just not making them, and that's a part of the game. When you make shots, it's a little bit easier. When you miss them, it's a little bit more difficult. Which at times we miss shots, but we found ways to still win games. That's a part of it. But we got another opportunity on Monday.
What's just the message as you approach Game 4, knowing that
one game at a time. That's all you can control.
James, what will it take to beat this team?
We gotta make some shots. I don't know how many shots we made or missed, but I feel like we haven't really made shots since the first couple quarters in Game 1. We gotta make shots. Not just this team, any team.
James, you guys 7 games with the Raptors, 7 with Detroit. Is fatigue a factor for this team?
No excuses. We got a game plan. We got to execute our game plan a little bit better, and then we got to have the confidence and find out how to make some shots. We do that, then we give ourselves a chance.
Kenny said that heads aren't hung.
No.
How are you guys lifting yourselves up as a team?
No, we're still confident. Like, the confidence is never going away. Like, we're more than capable. We just need some things to a shift change and make some shots to the series turns around.
You talked about the shot making, but defensively,
last question,
sort of allowed these guys to get loose.
I mean, it's when you're not making shots, is you put more pressure on your defense, so you're going to be on defense much more. You know what I mean? Then you got to take the basketball out of the rim. So that's a part of, like, basketball is obviously both sides of the ball. But if we can make some shots, it gives our defense a chance to get back and set up half court. You know what I mean? So it's a balance of both of those things. But they're a great offensive team. You know what I mean? They got to stretch big, and they obviously, Brunson handling the ball. So they're a difficult matchup. But it just makes it more difficult when you're not making shots. Then you got to keep relying on your defense, which they are a good team, so they're going to score.
How much is not making